So talking about mistakes, which do you guys prefer? What side are you on? Ownership or duplication? Now let me explain. When we started talking, we talked about how things work in America and how they don't work here, which is part of why majors come here and suffer.
Yes.
Because they have a system. They bring the system, copy and paste here, and then get frustrated that nothing is working. So, what works best? What do you think? Do you think we need, when I say duplication also includes adaptation, right? Do we think we just scrap everything coming from outside and say, look, we build from scratch here? Or are we even informed enough to do that maybe we should adapt?
It's both. Ownership works, duplication works. Okay. If you work in media, you realize that ownership works. If you are talking about content strategy, for example, and you're talking about patterns of creating content and demographics, duplication matters. You can't use duplication to excel in that particular, pun intended, to excel in that particular field. But then when it comes to the problem of ownership, it's the number one problems that majors have while coming here is, so in law there's something called promoters. You'd know that. Promoters that are on ground, they set the ground for you to come in. The number one problem we have here is not the problem of those guys, it's the problem of the promoters. So before those guys come here, it's about man, no man. And that's the rule all over the world. But then the number one problem we have is people who are not ready to make informed decisions because they themselves don't know anything.
I mean, that goes back to what I said when you sit in meetings and there are people that have lost. I have a client who went to a meeting with a major and was trying to, I know you see me, nigga. Was trying to have this conversation behind my back, and he took somebody with him, and it was woeful. So I'm sitting with this guy, one of the lawyers, who heard about what happened, and he was like, yo. So we're talking 1 hour into this hangout, different people, and the guy goes, can I talk to you? I was like, yeah. Like, so what happened? I was like, what are you on about? He said, I've been speaking to you for the last hour and a half. I know you know what you're saying. So what happened with the Sony meeting? And I was like,
what meeting?
I don't know what you're talking about. Oh no! That's how I found out that my client was having a meeting. So you go into this place, and then those guys now are like, his management doesn't know what he's doing, and opportunities are gone. And I feel like, because, as you said, as much as these people want to come in and want to adapt, we need the people who understand it. So everything we keep saying keeps going back to information, which is why I'm saying, we need to figure out how we are the least stupid people in the room. Because right now, a lot of representatives are the most stupid people.
Responsibility, Baba. It goes down to responsibility. We have to be responsible as human beings. Like, you can't think of the things you stand to gain. You have to think about the big picture. We have been talking about the big picture a lot. I think there was even a time that we agreed that we're not going to talk about certain conversations again.
We were fed up. Me and him were fed up having those conversations.
None of those conversations again. Because they are not going to change anything. As a matter of fact, they might even stop you from advancing in your career or in your life, personal life, from growing.
What kind of conversations?
So the problem, it had to do with majors, which is funny because that's the example you chose. We're talking about majors coming in and how at the bottom of it, it's just basically a case of the people there not having the right information, not knowing what to do with the information they have, generally being that the people there are the wrong people for those jobs. So that's why you see major labels coming in and they are struggling and they become the joke of the industry. It's frustrating to see when you realize these majors are coming here because they know that there's potential in Nigeria. They are not stupid. They are not stupid. They know there's potential here. They know. But we keep, and the problem of I remember us having this conversation. The problem of wrong people being in these positions is bigger than we see, because over time, picture yourself as a major. You've been in Nigeria 10 years, 15 years, nothing's working out. You're going to close shop. At a certain point, it just makes sense to close shop.
And that's not because the wrong people. I mean, that's not because there's no potential.
Yeah.
It's just because
That's
the
not
wrong
even
people
because
close the
there are no
doors.
resources. So it's not like money is not coming in, and it's just wrong people fucking shit up. So now when they close shop, that means jobs have gone. When you know how you're, imagine, you know, you're a foreign company, you are thinking of coming to Nigeria. You see Pfizer has left, ShopRite has left, P&G has left, this one has left. You'll be like, okay,
What am I coming to do here?
well, you know,
It's a ripple
you know.
effect. It goes.
So we must own, we must create.
yeah.
But we
Owners
must
also to your point of, to your question of ownership and, you know, duplicity, they both work hand in hand. They both work because of the kind of market that Nigeria is.
Complex market.
You know, things are changing. It's a very volatile market. So ownership is fine, but you have to pay attention, and you're going to make mistakes, but it's fine.
So why I brought this up was because most people, I hear this conversation around, oh, don't get a label deal. And I remember people I speak to about it, and when they tell me why they don't want a label deal, I just realized that they didn't really say it. It didn't come from them. It's somebody
that
they heard
sends
somewhere
them, yeah.
and they're reacting. And why I felt this was an important point to make is that when you Fonte said everybody's got to do a fucking job that they hate, right?
At some point, you
Right.
have to.
So
Listen to Fonte.
yes, right. So you have a situation where we're stuck with people who want to automatically own things without going through the process of development. So I'll do punched education into my stomach, right? So there are a few things I wish he taught me, but there's also like stuff that I learned from him, right? And I feel like I had to go through that process of being a boy
Yeah,
before I could become, even if I didn't agree with everything,
yeah,
but learning to submit, learning to listen, learning to obey, right? All these things came in handy when I now needed to lead, when I now needed to be the boss, the owner of my own company. I could see some of the mistakes that had been done, or the successes that I could copy. And so that's why I brought up the conversation around ownership or duplication, because I feel like this conversation around ownership, and they make it look as if someone that has a 9-to-5 is an idiot, right? And I feel like when we're pushing this narrative too much, that we're losing the point of, for us to own, we need to build,
yeah.
right? And to build, you need to know how to build. And the way you learn how to build is to be around someone that
Be
is building.
responsible first.
Yeah.
To know that you have to learn.
People want to jump processes.
So I feel like this is very important.